Today is April 24th, and there's so much news around the Trump administration and the Secretary of Education starting to collect on defaulted student loans. This segment will be about the news update, who it's going to impact, and what you can do about it, okay? Because there are people that legitimately have not made payments, and then there's people who their servicers are mismanaging their payments and or mismanaging their enrollment into income-driven repayment plans and is considering them on the pathway to default when that should not be the case. So if you fall into the bucket of being in default or you fall into the bucket of your servicers creating errors, what is it that you can do with it? Because I'm going to screen share in this segment because I want to summarize and give information that takes away the legalese and the misunderstanding on the studentaid.gov site. It does say to call your servicer. The wait times are really long. So what is it you could do without spending hours on hold with your student loan servicer if you are on the pathway to default, and how to stop that, okay? And what your options are. So let's first start with the news. I'm going to screen share here. Let me screen share this tab. I'm going to screen share a tab at a time. So I'm going to screen share this tab on the news update that just came out so you can follow what I'm saying. I'm clearly not going to read the article, but it's just to have reference here. The Trump administration is resuming collections on May 5th, okay? And what this means is that they literally can garnish tax refunds, Social Security benefits, and then eventually your wages. So if you have a W-2 job, that may impact you. If you're 1099, you're safer. But if you have a W-2 job, if they can't get something from your tax refunds or you don't have Social Security, they will garnish your W-2 wages. So keep that in mind. It impacts 5.3 million borrowers. So it's quite a number of people. It is literally over 10% of student loan borrowers. So it's not just chump change we're talking about here. And if you're one of them, if you're one of the borrowers this impacts, like, you're not a number, your feelings and your fear around this do matter. Even if you accidentally miss payments or you intentionally miss them, whatever your situation is, there are ways to get help around this. So I do want to alleviate the fears and concerns, okay? So let me just start right there. So default is defined by borrowers who have missed 270 payments, okay? 270 payments. And you're on the pathway if you are 61 days to 90 days late or not making payments, okay? And so just so you know, the Department of Ed can seize up to 15% of the borrower's disposable income starting May 5th, okay? So that is for the news update. So what is it that you can do about this? I think it's very, very important to understand what is it you could do about this, okay? So I'm going to go right now to the tab on student loan rehabilitation from no other than the only trustworthy source, which is studentaid.gov. I like to follow the news to see what's happening, but the only trustworthy site in terms of getting actual facts around student loans is always studentaid.gov, okay? You can always go, I realize there's a glare on my glasses, you can always go to look at the state of your student loans by even downloading your student aid file by logging in, and there's a My Aid tab you can click onto, okay? So that's a whole side note. I have a whole segment on how to download your data, and I will link it here so you can see the situation on your student loan. It says right here to contact your loan holder. The reason we think that is arduous and difficult is because the wait times are really, really long. When we help borrowers deal with rehabilitation, they're on hold for like hours. So we don't recommend that route actually, because you could do everything, like we can assist you, but you could do everything straight up as long as you understand the process, okay? So first of all, let's talk about what your options are if you're at the 270-day late and or delinquent mark, and what are your options? Let's start right there. First of all, right here, rehabilitate or consolidate your loans. And I love this chart. I want to show it because I'm going to zoom in. This chart's really important. What's the difference between loan rehabilitation and consolidation? First of all, loan rehabilitation, you're only allowed to do once in your lifetime of that loan, okay? So to be very clear, you can't keep on you can't, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not showing the screen of the chart here. Here's the chart. The difference between loan rehabilitation and consolidation is you can only apply for loan rehabilitation once in the lifetime of that loan. And the difference between loan rehabilitation and consolidation, the biggest part is that it removes the default from your credit history. That's the biggest part about loan rehabilitation. However, you have to make 9 on-time payments. And in order to make 9 on-time payments and what that amount should be, your loan servicer is basically going to look at, they're going to look at what your income and expenses are. It's a slightly different process. There's a form. Let me see if I can find the form. The form is basically a income and expense. What is a reasonable student loan amount? It's basically saying here that it's very similar to an income-driven plan. Will determine a reasonable monthly amount equal to 10 to 15% of your annual discretionary income divided by 12, making monthly payments, right? They use 150% of the poverty guidelines, which obviously is similar to an income-driven plan, not as generous as SAFE, but that's going away. I have to say that they require you to, here's the form, to fax it in. Who uses fax anymore, right? You can either mail or fax it in along with your taxes. They say digital signature is not accepted. You have to mail it in. LoanSense can help you with this process so you don't have to feel like, oh my God, I have all this stuff to mail. How do I answer it, etc. I'm going to open this form real quick so you understand. So instead of waiting on hold and trying to get to someone and having them estimate everything, here's what the form looks like so I can show you. They tell you what the formula is. We can calculate this formula so you can know, but they require you to put in your monthly income, your monthly expenses, and they'll sum up the monthly expenses, and the formula is calculated on this family size. If you have a spouse, they'll ask you to, if you're filing jointly, again, that's if you're filing jointly. If you're not filing jointly, do not put your spouse's income there because they're going to consider that towards your monthly loan payment. A lot of borrowers come to us after calling the service and doing this, and their payments are crazy. There's definitely ways to get your payments down because this process is very, very subjective. Like people will add their spouse's income when they're filing separate, or they will, the reality is your monthly income and expenses almost don't matter because they, it's very subjective. So what I'm seeing is your monthly income and expenses don't have to matter. We can help you figure out how to fill this out because it's a formula that it's interesting. They ask you to enter this, and sometimes I feel like the servicers don't even take this into account and try to get you to pay as much as possible in those 9 months. So there's definitely ways to use different forms of income because not everyone has a 1040, right? LoanSense can help with that. But the point is it's very important you understand how to fill out this form in order to get an affordable payment, okay? LoanSense can help with that. We can also help you submit the form on your behalf so that you don't have to do a bunch of mailing, okay? So that's what the form is. Depending on your income, your monthly payment under a loan rehabilitation agreement can be as low as $5. So the idea is they're trying to make it affordable. Servicers aren't always on your side when it comes to that, or people dealing with the rehabilitation aren't always on your side. It's really important to start the process, whether you decide to rehabilitate or consolidate. If people can rehabilitate, we recommend it. If people are going towards, I'm going to come back to this tab. If people can rehabilitate because they haven't already, with Biden's recent Fresh Start program, a lot of people can get a fresh start and rehabilitate once again. So it's a one-time opportunity. We do recommend it. However, if people don't qualify for rehabilitation for whatever reason, because I think most people will though, because of Fresh Start, but if you don't, for whatever reason, consolidation may be a pathway in which case you apply for the regular income-driven repayment plan, which again, LoanSense can also help with, and can also help with understanding what proof of income to submit. If you consolidate, the record of default as well as late payments will remain on your credit history, they say here, if you consolidate rather than rehabilitate. Okay, so rehabilitation is like, hey, we're going to give you this one-time opportunity to take it off of your credit, right? It talks about wage garnishments. I'm going to provide this link below as well if you want more detail, but I'm just trying to take out the legalese, right? They can garnish your wages. So keep that in mind. So it's better to get on a plan you can afford today than to wait until the government sues you and comes after your wages, okay? That's really important. There are some updated student loan plans. Let me click on this tab to see what comes up, because they took away the SAVE program, and they did take away income-driven repayment enrollment until pretty recently. So the online application is available, but it's sometimes they say you could still enroll in this, which if you do, you automatically get into forbearance. So just want to be transparent about that. They do have different plans and different explanation on the plans. Don't worry about that. Let LoanSense help you decide which one is best for you, because it's hard to understand. What does it mean? It's not capped. It's capped. Forget about it. Whether it's capped or not, matters or doesn't matter based on your income, your work circumstance, and how many years you've been paying. Our advisors can help you decide what's best based on your scenario instead of trying to understand all this information. You just don't have to. Like, we'll know right away if you're like a specific income amount, you are not on forgiveness pathway, or you are. Our software will help you determine all of that instantaneously without trying to wrap your head around all these rules. So this income-driven repayment, again, is one very small part of the consolidation process. So just so you're clear, on the default, consolidate your loans, there's an entire application for consolidation. And then in addition to it, there's an entire decision around what income-driven plan to go into. Also, if you're in default, obviously you probably want to consolidate all your loans, but depending on what type of loan, you might want to consolidate it into two groups, okay? So we can help you decide all that. We can help you fill out all the forms, and we can even submit it on your behalf and answer all your questions, alleviate your fears and your concerns. That's why we're here. So again, if you're one of these 5.3 million people in rehabilitation, fear not, we have the solutions for you. I want to now talk about what if you have been making you have made on-time payments, or you've attempted to by enrolling into an income-driven plan so you can reduce your payment, your servicer didn't process it, and now is saying you have 270 days late. What do you do in that scenario? Because that is happening to a lot of people. They have been trying to file into income-driven. The servicer isn't accepting it, and now the servicer is saying you're 270 days late, okay? Number one is it depends how you enroll the income-driven repayment plan. Did you check and say you want to enter a $5 plan while they figure it out? If you did not check that, then they expect you to make your regular payment while they are getting you into the plan. That's number one. Number two is, if you didn't check that and made an error, you can refile the paperwork. You can also submit written documentation. Do not call them, because nothing is written when you call. Submit written documentation that explains that you have been either making payments or you've been attempting to get into an income-driven plan, and that you haven't been able to because of the servicer delays, and that you want to be put into a $5 plan. You want to update your enrollment. Again, those are things that LoanSense can automatically do for you as a concierge customer. We can provide a discount code below. It's extremely low, in our opinion, low cost for the value in terms of the headache and the stress we help you relieve, because we're getting all the right answers to you and helping you interact with your servicer in a way that leaves a paper trail, as well as you know what you're submitting, we know all the rules, and they can't give you a runaround like if you called yourself. They can give you a runaround and say all these things, and then at the end of the day, reporting to your credit bureau that you have 270 days late payment. Another thing that LoanSense can do is submit the documentation to not only get you out of the pathway to default, but we can also give you submit to the servicer on your behalf documentation to get rid of erroneous credit errors due to non-payment when you were actually in the process of getting it. We can do that as well. So those are the things we do. We relieve your stress. We help you understand the best pathway forward based on what actions have taken place by you in the past with your servicer. We can help you enroll the paperwork, and we can help you submit the documentation to correct the credit so that you don't continue to get credit hits. If you want to purchase a home or car or anything in the future, it's really important you resolve this now rather than wait till years go by and then realize you don't have the documents anymore, you can't find it. It's important to resolve this now. You do not know if this is happening to you. You're just getting these messages from your servicer saying you're 270 days late now. We highly recommend everybody pull their credit report for free at annualcreditreport.com. Annualcreditreport.com. We will also include that below. I will also include the discount code for our services if you would like to use them. You can text us your questions. I will include the textable number below. It is 734. I have to confirm it. It's a text line that our customer service will respond to if you have additional questions, because we want to be here to support you and make sure you are not sitting in the stress of managing your loans that may be going into default. So again, we're here for you. We care so much about people's pains and successes. You know, we want to help you when you're in pain or fear, and we want to celebrate successes when you overcome managing your student loans and the challenges and difficulties behind dealing with all these servicing issues. And I'm sorry you have to experience this. It's just such a mismanaged system, and that's a whole nother political conversation I can get into. So again, I will provide links to studentaid.gov about loan rehabilitation. We will provide a textable link. You can text and ask us questions. You can leave comments below. If you find that someone is in this situation that we can help, please do not hesitate to share this video, like, and subscribe. Have a great rest of your day.